We're ready to begin work on our game now. First thing we're going to do is create a new XNA project in Visual Studio 2005. The reason that we create the project in 2005 is because our modeling tool needs to have an XNA project to connect to. So if you install XNA Game Studio 2.0, you can use any version of Visual Studio 2005 that you wish. So let's go to File, New Project. Under XNA Game Studio 2.0, we're going to choose a Windows game 2.0. Now remember, we're going to be creating an Xbox 360 game later, but for now we're just trying to see that our integration process actually works between the modeling tool and XNA Game Studio. And it'll be easier to do this just testing it on the PC. So let's give it a name. I'm going to call it Guitar Matey PC. Press OK, and it creates our project for us. Now you'll notice that we have a content folder with nothing in it yet, just some references. So one of the first things that we want to do is create a couple of new folders. I'm going to call one folder Textures, and I'm going to create another new folder called Models. This is going to be where we are exporting our content. Now, on my desktop, I have a folder called Game Textures. And this includes a couple of different textures, just a simple black one, as well as our pirate hat texture, since we are going to be working with pirates. And then there's all these FX files and HLSL files, and what these comprise is different kinds of shaders. These are DirectX 9 shaders. A shader defines the surface qualities for a particular surface. So, for example, there's the Phong algorithm shader, there's Lambert constant, which is just sort of a constant shade. And each of these are dependent upon different image files. So this is an ambient map, this is a normal map, this is a reflection, this is a surface map, and so these all actually come from our Softimage installation. So if you go to your folder, C, Softimage, go to XSI 6 Mod Tool, go to Add-ons, go to XNA GSE, go to Data, XNA Samples, and FX. And you'll find all of these shaders and dependent files which Softimage has graciously provided for us to use as our DirectX shaders. The important thing to know about these shaders is that for our model to render properly in XNA, we need to assign DirectX 9 surface shaders to each surface. You can't use the normal kind of materials that you find in XSI Mod Tool because these are mental ray materials, and there is no exporter for those. So, let's go into our Textures folder and go to Add, Existing Item, and we're going to browse to our desktop. Open the folder Game Textures, and select Black, Pirate Hat, and then the 3 default maps. The rest of these are shader files, and they're only really good to be used within XSI. Good, so now we have all these. We can actually select each of these and say Exclude from Project. Then you'll notice if we show all items, we have JPEG files, PNG files, all of which are not included in the project. So we can leave them excluded from the project, otherwise the content pipeline will try to rebuild them and we'll get warnings stating that these assets have been built twice. The reason we don't need to include them is because our models, which are going to be in FBX format, will be referencing these directly. So we don't need to worry about building them into our content pipeline, as it will already be happening. So now that we have our XNA project set up, we can move over to the Softimage XSI tool. You notice we have a brand new scene here. I've customized the back to be blue, so it's a little bit more visible. If we go to XNA Game Studio, we'll choose Connect to XNA Project, and we'll just choose a path here. We'll scroll down and find our Visual Studio 2005 projects, and we'll go look at Guitar Matey PC, and we'll double click into this layer, And when we choose select, it's going to create an XSI folder underneath this content folder. And that's going to include all of our model data. So we push select, it says no valid XSI projects have been detected. A new project will be created. Okay. So if we inspect our content folder, we'll see that an XSI folder has been created underneath our original content folder that was created by the XNA Game Studio project. So without any further ado, let's get started building our model.